What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick, and today we are going to go over novation agreements. It's the sexiest new term in wholesaling real estate. We are going to dive into it. We're going to find out exactly what it is, how it's used, and really why you're hearing so much about it. So, as you guys can see, I am solo today. So very rarely Zach lets me take over the mic. So we're going to have fun with this. So bring your questions. You guys have been pounding me with questions about novation agreements. I'm going to give you basically my 20 years experience of what it is and how you can use it, or if you should even be using it, and how does it relate to wholesaling. And guys, you know the drill. So guys, come on in. Let's get everybody in. And if you have never done a novation agreement, or you're hearing this term like, hey, what is it? How can I use it? That's what we're going to talk about. And what I'll do is go over it in the first few minutes here. And then towards the end, I'm going to take your Q&A questions. So in the chat box there, in the comments, if you can put your questions in there, I try to take them in the order they come in. And we'll take questions on novations, but really anything has to do with wholesaling, guys, I am here to help you out. But before we get started, guys, I've got to get you up because it's been a long week, but it's been a good week. Hopefully you guys are working on deals, doing everything like that. But guys, you got to really, to be a wholesaler, you have to have a high energy level. And I don't know how else to get this across to you other than saying, guys, what are you doing to get up? Like, what is your mantra to get pumped up? I know before I went in to go see a seller, I do incantations. I would do breathing exercises, whatever got me into the highest state mode. So I can sit here and yell at you all day and get pumped up, but let's jump into something I think will pep everybody up. Let's get into it.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and get the guy. Go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
Guys, you've got to get up in this business. And if that doesn't pump you up, I love it because it shocks you. You got so much going on. I've got to watch that video like 1,000 times to only wrap my head around it. So let's get into it. Novation agreement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it and we're going to break down exactly what it is. And then, guys, put your questions in there. I want to answer as many questions as I humanly possibly can. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So what is a novation agreement? Guys, simply the word novation derives from the word novate, which simply means to replace. In true definition, it means to replace a contract. A novation agreement is actually an act. It's not a contract. It is the act of replacing one contract with another contract. That's it. I could probably end the stream right there, but I know there's going to be a million questions. Guys, novation's been around since real estate was first started. When the first house was built, it is when one buyer is replaced with another. It is not wholesaling. I'm here to disclose to you right now, it is not wholesaling. It's got some similarities, and I see how people can kind of mix it up, but the reality is a novation agreement is simply a replacement. So that leads us to the next question. Why are so many gurus pushing novation agreements? And by the way, If you're a guru watching this, welcome. It's Rick Ginn, Flip with Rick. You guys know my son, Zach Ginn, and we don't sell courses. And that's the really neat part, because I'm going to give you the truth on everything, because you're not paying me and I just tell you the truth. So let's get down to it. Why are gurus pushing novation agreements? I'm this is, you guys, you better be prepared for this one. The reason you're hearing it is because it's a sexy old real estate phrase. And what better way to push a course, or in this case, a document, to allow you to flip as many real estate transactions as possible, even with difficult sellers. And that's it, guys. I have never heard novations taught publicly before this last maybe year or two, definitely in the last couple of years. And I'm here to tell you, we're going to go through the pros and cons of it. But the reason you're hearing so much is because if you think somebody can teach you how to do novations and you have to pay them a fee to get this secret document and secret strategy, you'll pay them. And so that's why you're hearing so much of it. All the masterminds are saying, hey, novation agreements, you can do this, you can do that. Guys, I've been doing this business 20 years. Novation happens naturally. Okay. There's no such thing as a novation agreement. And if you don't believe me, go find an attorney in your market, in your state, and ask them, can you draw me up a novation agreement? And they're probably just going to stare at you, because I tested this theory out too. They can help you with a novation, but there is no one size fits all document for a novation. Remember, a novation requires an existing contract to be in force, and you have to replace it. So I'm seeing gurus pushing, hey, get my novation agreement. But guess what? You can't get the agreement unless you pay for my course. And that's the truth of why you're hearing so much about novation agreements. Listen, I'm all about creative styles of real estate, but if you're in wholesaling, and especially if you're getting started, you need to laser focus on wholesaling. This whole novation thing is going to walk you down a road that you are not prepared for. And in my opinion, it's so much easier just to truly wholesale deals. Yes, there are occasions where a novation works, okay? But a novation is never just a singular document. It just doesn't exist. So let's go through the pros and cons. And guys, keep pushing in your questions. So what's the difference between novation and wholesaling? Well, wholesaling, the way we teach it, and the best way to get started in it is put a property under contract. We put it under contract. It's up to you on the terms. And then we go out, we find a cash buyer, and we sell the contract, and we collect an assignment fee. Guys, that's what you need to be focusing on doing. Now, a novation agreement means you are going to take one contract and replace it with the other. And there is so much more than just a novation agreement, which a pure novation agreement doesn't exist on its own. They're completely different animals. Here's what I see. I see gurus pushing novation agreements because it's a new coin term. It's an old term, just rehashed. And for you to get into their course and get these magic documents, you have to pay for it. So remember, guys, I told you there's absolutely zero secrets in wholesaling. Well, when all the secrets are revealed, which they are, then what's the best strategy? Go find this secret little niche and let's sell it and teach people how to do it. Well, I don't want to be the guinea pig and test this out. And I think that's what's going on. Novation agreements from the gurus are in there's no such thing as a novation agreement, guys. It doesn't exist. So what it truly is, forget about the title. It is a joint venture contract. You're going in with the homeowner and you're basically either partnering on them. You're doing a fixed profit split, whatever you're doing. But a novation agreement from gurus, from what I can tell, is they're coded as JV agreements. And guys, partnering up with a difficult homeowner is a recipe for disaster. So if you've never spent time in the courtroom, I'm not here to scare you, but guys, if you're just starting out, you got to stay laser focused on it. So let's talk about what are the pros of doing novation agreements in real estate. Well, let me give you an example. So remember, I've been doing this since 2003. Back in from '08 to really 2011, 12, short sales were extremely predominant. Almost every other transaction had a short sale. A short sale is basically when you owe more on the property than it's worth, and you got to get permission from the bank to short sale the note, meaning discount it, to sell it to get out from under the debt. Now, what we would do is we would write a contract on a short sale, and we would submit the offer to the bank because they have to approve it. Maybe we offered 80 grand, and the bank comes back and goes, no. We're not going to take less than 100. Okay. Now, maybe I had a cash buyer that I showed him my contract and I said, listen, they won't take this price, but they'll take this price. Is that something you'd be interested in? And if they said yes, we would then draw up a contract, and then I would review that contract, obviously with myself, with the new buyer. I would review it with the seller, and then I would review it with the bank. And if everybody agreed, we would replace the contracts. We would cancel the one contract and we put in the new contract. That is a novation of real estate. That's how it works. The problem here is it's being spun as something else. So I don't know about you, but partnering up with a homeowner to do a JV agreement is not somewhere you want to start out. Wholesaling has nothing to do with that. We are all about full disclosure, and that's what I want to talk to you. So in that instance, if you had to replace a contract and it worked out perfect, then that works. I'm going to tell you, less than 5% of my cases ever have that condition that pops up. Sometimes the seller has to change their mind. Sometimes you discover stuff on the property. The repairs are much worse than you thought. Maybe you did a short inspection period, whatever it is. And then maybe you have a friend. Maybe you have a buyer. You have a relationship. Heck, maybe it could even be a family member. And you say, hey, listen, why don't you write a contract and I'll pull my contract out. And if you can take it on with all that stuff and you got a GC background, that might be a perfect deal. And maybe they give you a fee on the side. That would be a good example for a novation. So those are the only pros I see in doing a novation. Okay. You cannot do a novation agreement. If anybody wants to argue with me, not argue with me, I'd be happy to debate it. But, you know, it just, it drives me nuts. So let's talk about the cons of doing a novation. Okay. The problem with doing a novation is you need consent from all parties involved. The buyer, the seller, obviously you, and anybody involved. You also need to run it by the title company. I can tell you this, to get everyone to cooperate, the communication has to be beyond crystal clear. You're also going to have to communicate to the seller and the buyer exactly what you're making. And if you try to hide it or like shield it, this is where you're going to get into a problem, because a novation has to be full disclosure for it to be legal. So let me give you an instance. This is where I see a con in a novation. If you're using a novation strategy where a home seller is stuck on a price, and by the way, when they're stuck on a price, they're typically not motivated sellers. So what we normally do is we spend time with them, we put them in our follow-up, and unfortunately, you have to wait most of those sellers out. The new strategy coming out with this novation agreement, which you can't do in one document, is you're telling the seller, hey, listen, I'll give you your price. I'll do the $50,000 repairs. Maybe it's $100,000. And then I'll put my fixed profit on it. So regardless, I get paid. I'll just front the repair bills and I'm going to win no matter what. Time out, guys. You're not getting paid first. 70% of houses in the United States have this thing called a mortgage on it. And They've recorded it long before your lien. They get paid first. So if your property doesn't sell for the retail price it needs to, maybe the market shifts, maybe the repairs weren't done up to par, you are going to take the bath on it, not the seller. You're going to take the bath, because if the liens exceed the sale price on the house, what are you going to do? It means you're putting your money at risk. And by the way, guys, I would never put probably more than 10, 15 grand into a property I did not control the deed on. It is a recipe for disaster. You are not in control, and you're putting your finances at risk. Also, if you go out and get a hard money loan, they're not going to give it to you with a first mortgage in place. That's the other con with it. You can raise private money, but that assumes you know what you're doing and you're a seasoned investor in this market. And remember, if you're wholesaling, you're just starting out, this is a world you don't want to be in. So you also have to have a construction background, because you got to manage the construction. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've ever gotten construction, they always go over budget. They always take more time. And in the end, if the seller doesn't get the amount they think they're going to get, guess who they're going to blame? That's right. You are going to be in the crosshairs. I don't care what your paperwork says. Remember, it's not always the seller funding to go after you and sue you. What they do is they go to these CPA agents, which is the Consumer Protection Agency in your state. And they say, listen, they told me I was going to get 200,000, but when it all settled, I got like 140, and I got ripped off $60,000. Well, guys, we have a target on our back. You just make it bigger when you do agreements like this. There is a reason you do not want to enter into an agreement with a difficult seller. The last thing you want to do is wind up being their partner in a JV agreement, a so-called novation agreement. Also, guys, novation agreements, the little thing they don't tell you while you get the paperwork, you have to record a lien. You have to execute it perfect, meaning you have to have it notarized. It has to be compliant with the county and how they record everything. Number two, you'll also have to do some type of power of attorney, probably a limited power of attorney. Guys, when you sign any type of power of attorney, you now have a fiduciary responsibility to the owner and the asset. And guess what? Like my wife is my own real estate agent broker. I have to disclose that she's listing the property. Otherwise, it looks a little funky. If my friend is a contractor, I need to disclose that. And there's so many abuses that can happen here. And if the homeowner's not happy with you, they just go over to the CPA and go, hey, this guy, Rick, did this agreement with me, and he told me I might get 140, and that's it. People start looking into you. And imagine the person that did 5, 10, or 15 of these. Guys, listen, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just telling you, novation happens naturally. It happens logically. And there is no one document that will take down a novation. So novations, for the most part, are used in high profile commercial cases that have complicated leases, businesses tied in with them. And they're usually put together by very expensive attorneys. So I'm going to start out with this. And as many questions as we can get, because I see them piling in here, and I'm definitely going to answer them all, is if you are going to use a novation type strategy, I don't care. Guys, you can call a contract whatever you want. In the eyes of the court, they really don't care about the title, because they'll just ignore it, because I've seen people put cute titles on stuff. The title means nothing. They're going to look at your intent and if you took advantage of someone. And they always give the homeowner the benefit of the doubt. And we've had a lot of scrutiny in this business, and I want to keep it as clean as you can. Guys, for the most part, wholesaling is the easiest, simplest strategy. Novation is not something that's going to make it easier. It's definitely not a shortcut. In my opinion, it's a sexy way to sell you a secret. And what I tell you about a secret, if it's such a great secret, why are you selling it? Because it's easier to flip you guys than it is to flip real estate. So that's about it. I'm gonna dive into it. Guys, do me a favor. As you guys pile in here, you're always asking me, hey, how can I repay you and Zach? If you could just smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that would help us all out a lot. And it'll help more people discover this channel so you don't get stuck in this abyss where you have to pay a guru to get all these secrets. There's no more secrets. Novations just added on there as a catchy phrase and it gets attention. That's probably why you're watching this. Once again, hi to all the gurus watching me. Guys, a novation agreement does not exist on its own. Okay. There's 4 elements that have to happen in a novation. Run it by any attorney. They'll tell you. You have to have an existing contract. Okay. You have to have a replacement contract. You have to have a document to execute the cancellation of the original contract. And then finally, number 4, you have to execute the new contract and disclose it to all parties involved. And that is it, guys. I'm telling you, I've just let out the big secret. I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off with this video, but I don't care. There is no such thing as a novation agreement that does it all. It's physically impossible. Now, you and a homeowner can agree to whatever you want. The last thing I want you to do starting out in this business is enter into an agreement with a homeowner that's unrealistic on their price, that needs lots of repairs, put your finances at risk. Because guys, you can't get hard money on this stuff because it's going to have an existing mortgage. And anyone who tells you you're going to get paid first, you better make sure that house is free and clear and you've ran the title on it. So guys, do me a favor, smash that like button. I'm watching how many likes come through here. Hit that subscribe button and you'll continue to receive the absolute best unfiltered information of how to be successful in wholesaling, do it legally and ethically, and easily make 100 grand with no cost. So, oh my God, I'm looking at all these questions. Really, really good stuff here. So, guys, if you're new to this, if you get a chance, just let me go on here and remove this. Sorry, I'm not the, go to freewholesaling.com. We explain everything in there. I do not have a novation section for you. There is a reason for it. Okay. I do not want you partnering up with a difficult homeowner to get in the construction business, to risk your finances, to maybe make a small profit. And that's if everything works out perfect. And if it doesn't work out perfect, guess what? You're the blame. Guys, this is not wholesaling. Okay. I don't know what it is. I've done them. Like occasionally you got to replace the contract. It's no big deal in single family homes and it's fine. So I know some of you are going to say, well, Rick, what if I find a house that needs a ton of repairs? The seller really wants to sell, but they're stuck on their price. And I have a guy who wants to do the repairs and do everything. Well, if you can put it together and make all parties happy, knock yourself out. You are not going to get that done with one agreement. Okay. And for those of you saying, oh, you know, but we have a power of attorney, a limited power of attorney. I'm going to tell you, signing a limited power of attorney puts you in the crosshairs. You have to do what's best for that client and the asset. And if the courts deem you not doing that, you can actually be easily removed with one complaint from a homeowner. Remember, courts always side with the homeowner. They assume that they're somewhat being taken advantage of it. And if the CPA comes after you, they are pro homeowners. They think all wholesalers are greedy. Guys, we're talking about novation agreements and it just, it drives me nuts. So go to freewholesaling.com and we teach you this business 100% for free. I believe everybody should learn wholesaling as a starter strategy to create wealth in real estate. And I did it. I did it over 20 years ago. I taught Zach how to do it. You guys see how successful he is. And I want to teach as many people as possible. I do fine flipping my properties. I do not want to give away every ounce of my time doing one-on-ones and everything. So the best way to give back to you guys is being right here. So let's jump in. I'm going to jump up to the top of question. Guys, put in your questions and I am going to bang through these. So, oh my gosh, that's funny. I chug a Monster Energy drink before I meet with the seller. So we guys talked about strategies doing that. So we were talking about motivation earlier, man. I love hyping stuff up, man. It just, you've got to be insane for what we do. And if you're going to be insane, you got to be a little bit crazy what they do. I'm going on 20 years on this, and I treat it like every day is a new day in with it. So, Chris put on there, oh my gosh, 70K net deals. Give me some good tips. I've closed. And Chris, it sounds like you don't need any tips. Chris knows what he's doing. So guys, in the chat there, use this time. Chris, obviously he's in Arizona. There's a lot of investors in Arizona, guys. There's no such thing as a saturated market. A saturated market, just, you got to put out more effort than everybody else. So Chris, I'm not going to give you any tips because you know what you're doing, man, and keep doing it, but stick to the basics and grow on it, and you can expand on your wholesaling, and then you can decide to add other things. Just do me a favor. Don't add Novation Agreements as a JV opportunity with difficult home sellers. So awesome job, man. What's up, Tony? Appreciate it. A cowbell, elbow cough. Oh, okay. To a seller, what are, okay. So Steve's asking, what is a good way to bring up a novation agreement to a seller, and what are the triggers that indicate a good candidate? I don't want you doing it, Steve. I'm just telling you, a novation agreement, they happen, but if you're truly going to be an investor in a wholesaler, I would look at getting a good deal on the house and looking to assign it, or at worst, double close. A novation agreement usually gets complicated. So, by the way, I've heard multiple gurus say there's only really two. I believe there's two, well, there's more than two. There's a lot of people putting out there. One of them says very clearly, and he's all over the internet on it, says novation agreements only work on nice, clean homes that need absolute no repair. I got to be honest with you. If I was ever going to have to enter into like that type of agreement, that's the home I would lean towards. Okay. And then I have someone on the other side. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just telling you what the argument is. Novation agreements only work on houses that need massive amounts of repairs, and the seller's kind of unrealistic on their price. So it's confusing. So what I find is people kind of spin it towards what they can teach, and have people get in the contracts with it. Either way, if you're going to novate, you got to enter into an original agreement. But if you guys think you're going to do a novation agreement without any of that, I'm just not a huge, it just makes no sense to me. Why would you put your financial risk if you do not control the deed of it? I know what you're going to say. I got a power of attorney. Hey, listen, your power of attorney can be challenged, or guess what? What if the house doesn't sell for the right price? What if a 9/11 happens? What if this happens? There are so many complaints coming through the CPA, and there's lawsuits. There was a lawsuit just revealed. I believe it was I forgot what state it was. I want to say it was Illinois, where they went after someone for options for not full disclosures on it. So honestly, Steve, it would come up if a repair was on a property and it wasn't disclosed. Say the foundation was cracked and you thought it was suspect, you're going to come back and you wrote a contract and say, now we're 50 grand off. That's where I would come in and try a novation and say, listen, seller, I'm not that type of person. We are not contractors. You guys don't want to get in the rehab business. It sucks. I'm just telling you, it's a whole nother business that really has nothing to do with wholesaling. Wholesaling is the art of finding great deals with your marketing skills and you're able to talk to them. Rehabbing property is a whole different type of skill. So in that event, if there was like $50,000 and it came out, then I might, if they're okay with it, I go, listen, I work with some people. I'll have them come out and take a look at it, and maybe we can replace the contract if you're open to that. And I would leave it right there. I'm not going to, my fear with novation agreements is people are going to think it's a shortcut and they're going to think it's a cute way to deal with difficult sellers. I'm telling you, difficult sellers will complain. They will get they'll get an attorney involved in it. It's going to get to the state level. It's going to wind up in the CPA. And then guys, when you're taking on anybody on the state level, they're going to outspend you every time. So here's another one. How can we make sellers comfortable with novation agreements? As I said, there's no such thing as a novation agreement. You're trying to make them comfortable on the wording on it. Guys, it doesn't, guys, get away from novation agreements. I'm just telling you, I know not everyone's going to agree with me here, and I don't care, but I'm telling you, I've been doing this business a long time. you start to do a lot of these, you are going to be walking into a courtroom. Remember, unless you control, when we do wholesaling, we are entering into a contract, and then that is our intent, and that's what we're doing. And that's your claim to be able to find out a buyer and make an assignment fee. When you do a novation, unless you're swapping contracts, there's no agreement. So a novation agreement, you're going to need a power of attorney, limited power of attorney. You're going to need a record of lien. And guys, if you don't have experience doing this, you really need to involve a lawyer. So if you guys are using the strategy, please don't even take my word for it. Take it to your local attorney in your state and tell them what they think. And they will walk you through some of the risks you're running through. Like, listen, you can do 20 of these and it's fine. It's when you get caught, like, what are you going to do? Because the problem is like, well, Rick, I only made 10 grand on it. I'm like, yeah, you can be sued for damages. You can be sued for attorney's fees. There's so many more things that can happen with you. I'm not here to scare you on it, but I'm just saying to you, if I sat here and chased novation agreements, it would take away from my wholesaling. And that's what's got me here in front of you. And why haven't you guys heard about novations before this? Just people are trying to find every possible way to sell you a secret to get you to sign up. So a novation agreement, it doesn't exist. You have to have 4 elements to do a novation of a real estate contract: existing contract, the new proposed contract, cancellation of the original contract, and execution of the final contract. Any other way, unless they've changed the law since I've done this broadcast, it doesn't exist. So, all right, keep them coming. So Tony asked, Rick, where do I get a novation agreement? You're never going to get it from me because, number one, it doesn't legally exist. Novation agreement is a sexy title, guys. I'm just telling you. It is a code for you to JV with the homeowner to do the repairs, put it on the market with your power of attorney, and then get an end user, and then you get your profit plus your original amount of whatever your construction is. Guys, I wish it was that simple. It is more complicated than that. I could tell you it's super sexy. You just do this. And that's what you guys are experiencing right now. You're just, guys, I've been doing this a long time. I'm just telling you, I would not go down this road. I would not advise anyone. You need some experience under your belt. And if you, especially if you're in your first deal or you haven't done a deal yet in your first 5, ignore this strategy. I just don't think it's a good deal. You guys are going to obligate homeowners. You're going to set up expectations. And if you don't meet it, meaning it doesn't go exactly the way you stated it is, they're going to hold you accountable. And I don't want that for you. Wholesaling is a much simpler strategy. This novation thing is getting no such thing as a novation agreement. I promise you. And why do you think they won't share? Why do you think they won't share these documents on the internet? Because you have to pay for it. Eventually they'll come out. So somebody says here, I love novations. Great. Awesome. So they love replacing a contract with another one. I agree completely with you. So, okay. I was just learning on the podcast. This is my first live. I'm usually working. Awesome. I appreciate it. Okay. Let's see this one. Someone's asking for people in North Dakota. So here's the deal. And I agree with this is one of the strategies is you can get the end buyer can get conventional funding. Okay. That's great. But what if you have to put up $100,000 to do the repair? And you go, oh, okay, well, Rick, I'm going to record the lien and I'm going to put my profit in on that. I don't know. If I'm a consumer protection agency, I'm like, if that homeowner complains and it doesn't work out the way you need it to, they're going to blame you because you put this transaction together. So I would say if it's a nice, clean home and you can't get like the right price and you have a buyer in mind you work with and they want to get conventional financing and your seller is okay with it, go with it. The only difference I'm going to tell you is you need to work with an attorney to do these until you have a firm understanding and the proper paperwork. And by the way, there is no one document that covers all 48 states in the US. No way. And especially not all 50. It's impossible. So Okay. Well, tell me what the one major one I'm leaving out on the pro. You're making a lot of money. That's awesome. So just kind of keep posting on there. So I can tell one person's posting the same questions. Um, let's see here. The Tony says, listen, it sounds like a huge hassle. Guys, what I'm trying to get the point of this broadcast is to tell you wholesaling, it works. Assignment and contracts works. If you had to do a double closing, I'm just saying, if you think you're going to use this novation agreement strategy to replace something else you're doing, you're wrong. You're being sold a pipe dream. I'm just telling you, it is the novation agreement everyone's talking about on the internet is simply a JV agreement you do with the homeowner. And my God, guys, if they're already difficult on price, what are you going to do when you get a new buyer with conventional buying and they go through and do the full inspection and construction prices ramp up, or say it takes longer than expected, or they don't get the profit they want? They're going to come after you. And that's the problem with it. I don't want all that hassle in my life. Now, this is a creative strategy. I believe it's a little bit more in the advanced level. And I think a lot of you are being misled and thinking this is this great new strategy. It's going to make you a ton of money. It's not. And I promise you, you're going to hear more about novation agreements. You're going to see a lot of cases pop up on it because I see a lot of people trying to ride it. And the funny thing is, the only way I can get my novation agreement is I got to sign up for someone's course to get it. Well, how convenient. I have to sign up. I got to pay a big fat fee to basically get one document. A novation agreement, guys, take your existing contract. If it's not working out and there's something completely wrong, you can replace it with a new contract. If that person wants you to pay a fee, that's a novation. I just saved you probably 5 or 10 grand from someone cutting through that. You have to have a lien ready to record and execute it. I would use a lawyer to do that. And you also have a limited power of attorney. That's something you don't want to do on your own unless you have experience doing it. So are we doing one-on-one calls? No, I'm not going to do it today. I usually do it with Zach because I tend to chat a little bit more than Zach. And I feel like I can't service you guys in enough time frame with it. But I promise you, as I get better with the technology, guys, we go 4 days a week live. We post 2 videos a day. Nobody, absolutely nobody on the internet beats our content here with Flip with Rick because, number one, it's free. Number two, I tell you the truth because I haven't sold out to you guys. So I share it from my wholesaling business, everything I do. And full disclosure, I've done novations. I've never done a novation agreement because it doesn't exist. So I'm not leaving out the part where the buyer can get financing. I agree with that, but there's a million other things that come up when you do it. So, okay, well, let's see. So here's a good one. I'm struggling with sellers wanting market value without rehabbing their property. Best way to approach these leads? Honestly, you just got to nurture them and you got to work them in your follow-up. And then you got to go find people that are ready to do a deal now. And if they take 6 months to a year to come to the conclusion, because the market is brutal and it's going to tell them the truth. So it's brutally important to just have a follow-up system. So guys, it's so perfect. Like if I could give you a strategy where, let's face it, of all your leads you get in wholesaling, specifically wholesaling, I'm talking about, listen, 90%, probably 95% of the prospects you deal with, they're not going to do business with us. So you have to prepare yourself for it. You got to find those people that you can nurture and work the leads. I've had a lead work as long as 3 and 4 years, guys. Like I swear to you, it's taken that long. So if you know that, you don't have to try to force to do deals with people that are unrealistic. And especially if they got a ton of repairs on the property, guys, move on. Don't get desperate and reach for these leads and think you have this magic instrument that's going to make everything perfect and you're going to make millions of dollars. There's a reason it sounds so good, so sexy, so new, and so secret. It's because you got to get through this gate. You got to pay your little fee and they're going to share the magic secret for you. Guys, I've been doing this almost 20 years. This is no secret. It's been around forever. They just retitled it. It is a JV with the homeowners. So Brenda, in this exact case, I get it. The market is booming. Okay. And it looks like it's going to be for a while, but you just got to learn to build rapport with them, move on. But like, listen, 95% of them are going to fail. That's just the truth. So I can't, if you want to deal with 95% and do like this full-time, like novation agreement, to be honest, you just go be a realtor. It'd be easier. Like I didn't get in this to be a realtor. I don't want to go through all that hassle to do all of it. Every now and then it would work out. I would tell you this, if you have to do a novation, make sure the house is vacant. They're not living in it. And you better protect yourself if you're going to put in like a ton of money. Because remember, most of these houses are going to have mortgages. And that's the challenge. So I would make sure it's vacant and free and clear. That's the only way I would even possibly entertain it. So someone just joined and said, hey, what's a novation agreement? A novation is simply taking your original contract and replacing it with a new contract. That's the only way it works. That's how the law reads. A novation agreement, it's some sort of magic document. If you pay someone $5,000, $7,000, or $10,000, they're going to open up so you can access 90% of the leads that fail because they want too much money or the property's beat up, and they're going to fix everything for you. But I'm telling you, if you guys take this strategy, whatever agreement paperwork you get, I don't care what it's titled, make sure you run it by your local lawyer in your market to see if it passes the test, because I'm telling you, every state's a little bit different and I wouldn't risk it. So, but you can go back and listen to the beginning of this video, and I broke down the pros and cons, what it is, and everything we go. So, if you don't, okay, so let's get into this. So, it's kind of the real estate group I belong to has been going on now for 20 years. They all say that assigning a contract, you don't either have the intention to close on the funds to be able to close it. Actually, closing is more like a realtor and technically not legal. And the scrutiny is coming through to our industry. I agree with you, Michael. I agree. The problem is there's been so many unethical people out there teaching it. Hey, throw it under contract, throw it under contract, get it under contract and assign it. When I started out in this, and I didn't have the best people teaching me, I had to figure a lot of this out on my own. I paid gurus, but they were absolutely, they didn't know. Wholesaling wasn't really mainstream when I started out. So Michael, when I started out, I had this exact same concern, because if you have an ounce of integrity, I don't want you, and I definitely won't put a house under contract if I know I don't have the capability of closing on the property. Well, Rick, how do you do that if you don't have any money? Well, number one, if you're coming out of like corporate America, like I did, you probably have the credit and some basic down payment money to be able to come through on a property and close on it if you had to. So you have to prove that ability, and you need to get that lined up and have that set and ready to go. I mean, that's a start. Trust me, it's not perfect. Okay. The odds of everybody having enough cash hands sitting on ready to go is probably not reality. Number two, the best scenario you can do is get a private money partner. It could be family, it could be friends, or anything like that. Explain them what you're doing, show them what you're doing, and have it ready to go so you can offer a proof of funds and have the ability. Once you have the ability and the intent to close on a property, you are acting in good faith. Now, for those of you out there throwing everything under contract and like, how do I get a proof of funds and stuff? You're doing it backwards. You need to back up. You figure it out. The worst case scenario, here's what I tell you, go find someone you can partner up with, have them put up the cash. You do the heavy lifting. Maybe they give you some tips and pointers, and that way you're covered. But if you're going to go out there and throw properties under contract, like Michael's talking about here, this is the reason why they're asking all of us to get a real estate license. But it's kind of funny. The people that want us to get licensed are being attacked by the Department of Justice for an antitrust lawsuit. And they're telling them they're unethical in how they're treating it. So now for us, meaning you and me, to be compliant, we now got to go to NAR, pay them a fee, get our state license, and then get sponsored by someone. Man, that sounds like quite a racket. So guys, just do the right thing, man. Like honestly, before you out and meet with homeowners, make sure you have the ability to do it. Once you have the ability, you can easily assign contracts. And some of the deals are so good, it is worth closing on, or you can do the double closing strategy. Guys, there's a lot of different ways to do it. But what I'm telling you is the novation strategy alone is not the way to attack wholesaling, and nor is it a quick fix. Great point there, Michael. Guys, keep coming here. I'm gonna stay on about 15, 20 more minutes. Okay, so let me do this. Let's see here. So those of you that are new to the channel, if you go to freewholesaling.com, we offer the most comprehensive, the most amount of users, the best information on how to get started in wholesaling from start to finish. And I promise you, there's no sell ups. No one's going to ask you a credit card. You'll get a username and a password. And there's so much that I can't do in like a 1 hour show. Guys, I've got over 600 videos on our Flip with Rick YouTube channel. And we post 2 videos a day because you guys need up-to-date information. Go there and sign up now, guys. So let's jump in the comments here. So I have one person just keeps posting it over and over. Like you're kind of wasting everyone's time at this point. So great. You love novation agreements. I just hope you're working with an attorney and you know what you're doing. So good luck, man. So she asked here, what do I do about a wholesale property that's been through a flooding? So I'm not overly familiar with them, but it depends on how long. If it's sat for a really long time and it hasn't been dried out, you definitely need to find a contractor that specializes in that. And, but a lot of time I've had properties where they got a professional company and they dried them out. If they dried them out, typically what they'll do is cut the drywall up to, whatever the level, usually it's the first foot or two. And then they inspect the inside and you might have to have it, mold remediation, but it gets a little bit technical. So find a contractor that knows what you're doing and just kind of figure out the numbers, and then you can reverse engineer it. That's what I would do. So I got that. So Raylon says, I'm sorry if I don't do the name. I like to use novations as a net listing. Hey, knock it out. Now, novations, Raylon's not using the word novation agreement, so I'm trying to figure out, I'm okay with a novation, guys. A novation is simply the substitution of one contract for another. Anything else is a repackaging deal to sell you a secret, so you pay the magic fee to get the secret. Guys, it's not a secret. You can do novations without anyone. If anything, I would spend a couple bucks on an attorney and get the right paperwork. And once you get it done once and you're comfortable with the strategy, go with it. I would never put more than 10 grand, maybe 15 grand in a property. I did not personally control the deed because you were at risk. So if someone's going to put in like 50, 70, 100, 150, it's just too risky in my opinion. So, okay. So it says here, I'm with a seller who asked for a proof of funds. I have a $300 in my bank account and nobody's a beginner. So if you go back about 8 minutes ago, I solved this exact problem. What you got to do is go out and get strategic partners before you go out and meet with these homeowners, because they will call you to the table. They want proof of funds. Like, guys, these people are not stupid. They know what's going on. Like the Band-Aid's been ripped off from wholesalers because so many people sold courses about this. So you got to go fight fire with fire. So go find someone that will work with you, that will get either partner with you, a private money person, or worse, go out and get a hard money, but you got to set that relationship up before you meet with the sellers, guys. Guys, I've done over I'm probably at 13. I'm at 1362, I believe, in deals so far at this point in my life. In the beginning, nobody ever asked me for a proof of funds. I got to be honest with you. I wasn't asked for a proof of funds till about 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's every other seller asks me for it. So if you know it's coming and you already know what they want, then give it to them. But I get it. You only have $300. So go out and find someone that will offer you financial backing, and then have them partner up with you. Let them know why it's a good idea to work with you, and that'll solve that problem. But don't keep showing up the seller's house if you're not prepared for it, because you're going to waste time and energy doing that. So um, hopefully we can help people out with that. So um, So guys, everyone's always asking me, hey, Rick, what type of list do you guys use? Go to listtoRE.com. You get a 7-day free trial period. And I'm telling you, that's what we use in our business. I've been using them. We're going on 3 years now. And for full disclosure, I used ListSource for the 14 years before that. It was actually CoreLogic when they did it. And it's awesome because I can get everything right there. You can find out if they have a loan. For those of you that want to do novations, you need to know if they have an existing lien on the property, meaning a mortgage. The only way I would ever enter into some sort of novation is the house is vacant, meaning the personal homeowner doesn't live in it, and there's no other debt on the property. That pretty much guarantees you could get paid. But the odds of that, remember, 70% of the houses have a mortgage on it. So let's see here. Call us, ask unrelated question. It's okay. We're open to whatever question you guys have. Just put them in there. And I'm sure we'll talk about novations as we continue to go here. I just want to bring light to it, guys, because I keep seeing this thing thrown around. Nobody's ever challenged anybody with this novation paper. A novation agreement, guys. There is no one document that does it all. You have to have a power of attorney. You've got to have a lien recorded, and you need some sort of contract. So until someone shows their cards on what a novation agreement is, there's no one document that does it all. There's a lot of moving parts in this, and every one of those documents you sign puts you a little bit at risk. So, question, I'm a wholesaling in Chicago using double close and transactional funding. Yeah, I mean, you can do it either way. So it's double closing is just the art of where you fund the original contract, the purchase, and then you turn around and you sell it immediately to the other person, often 5 or 10 minutes right after it. Now, one has to be clearly funded. The only way to do that is transactional funding, and that's what Carlos is talking about there. So awesome. So guys, listen, just make sure on the proof of funds, I see you guys in the chat here, it's got to be like real. Don't go get like a fake proof of funds. It doesn't put you in a good light, and I don't want you kind of going there. So it's important. So, okay, guys, I'm going to open up to any other questions you have. I want to keep this going. Do me a favor while you're on this stream right here. If you can give me a like, me and Zach, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And guys, we post videos, 2 videos a day. Nobody even comes near the amount of content we do. We do 4 lives a week, I believe, might even up it from there. And my goal is to bring you as much information. And I want everybody who wants to get into wholesaling and make at least 100 grand. And I want to do it for free for you, because I don't need to flip students, man. I've been doing this a long time. I've watched more coaches and gurus burn out. I watch them blow up. I watch them shrink down. Guys, we can all work together. I'm not anti-guru. I'm just, when we keep throwing around sexy agreements and if the pitch sounds too perfect, buyer has to beware. Okay. There's no secrets in wholesaling. Anyone who tells you for this fee or $5,000 or $7,000, I'll show you how to do wholesaling. Guys, they are running a coaching business. They're here to turn and burn you. It's very, very, very profitable. I could easily turn around this making coaching green, and I could probably make millions doing it, but I want to do something better. I'm more about my legacy, And I taught my son how to do this business for free. And he came back, he goes, Dad, you know so much. Why don't you teach everybody how to do this? And that's how this thing was born. And I get more connections. So if you could hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And as our community grows, guys, work with people in the chat comment. They're all like-minded people who want to work with each other, and we all have a common goal. My goal and my why is, I tell you guys every time, I got out of the corporate world so I could be financially free and I could free my time up. And that's the gift I have I spend just about every day with my 22-year-old son, which you guys have kids out there, you know the bond. And I never made Zach do this business. He wanted to do it. And he got a full ride college education and he chose to do this. So that's it. I enjoy it. So this is all I'm just giving back and I enjoy it. And I have a lot of fun talking real estate with everybody in it. So let's see. I got a few more questions here. Guys, put in your questions. I'm going to wrap this up shortly. If I don't get questions in here. Let's see here. Okay, I got it here. So Sam asked, would you cold call on a Friday? Yeah. Guys, the reality is whenever you can cold call and you got time to do it, do it. Do it. Like everyone asks me, Rick, what's the best day to mail? It's the day you decide to finance the campaign, get it going and get it out. So you're never going to be able to control these. The only thing I advise you against is not cold calling on like Sunday. That's the only one I'd say don't do it. So, George says, Rick, you're appreciated. Seriously. So guys, listen, I really enjoy doing the streams with Zach, and Zach does a lot of the technical stuff with the cold calling and the marketing, because I've taught him the basics, but he's ran so much further with it and he runs that part of the business. So, let's see here. What's up, MJ? I see you all the time. I appreciate you constantly contributing to our stream here. Hey, Rick, when sending the purchase agreement via DocuSign, I fill out everything except my name and then add the last when they send it back. Only reason I ask is if I don't have an LLC yet. So, MJ, as long as your contract is assignable, you'll be able to replace that name on it. So if you guys are worried, hey, I don't have an LLC or anything, and I just got started, but I just got a great deal, like my neighbor or something like that, you can technically put it under contract under your name. As long as the contract's assignable, you can tell the closing company you can change it into your LLC right before closing. Or if you're just going to assign it, you can do that too. So you could technically go from MJ to your LLC. It's usually $100 to $200 to set up depending on what your state in. And then you can do an assignment from there and replace it. So the key there is just make sure it's assignable. So Eric says, love the content. MJ, what's the best time to stop cold calling? I probably wouldn't go much past like 8 p.m. You start waking people, like kids are putting people to bed and stuff. So, but Zach's probably the better person to ask, but I've never seen him do it past 8. So I'm just giving you personal experience on it. So, awesome. Reggie says, thank you, Rick. You're a birth legend. I don't know about that, but guys, I'm just trying to give you the absolute truth on this business because, full disclosure, I've sold courses, I've sold marketing stuff, and then back in 2014, I couldn't take it anymore. The amount of crap that was being peddled out there, people were doing 3 or 4 deals, and now they're going to teach you. And now I find people coaching these gurus, telling you can get in this business and you can do any information. Guys, listen, I love YouTube. I love all the platforms, all the social media, because knowledge is out there, but you got to make sure you're getting the right knowledge from people doing it. I would not take advice from anybody in this business that has not shown a 10-year success record. And in my honest opinion, since 2013, it's been nothing but an uphill climb. The challenges are going to come eventually. I don't know when. I'll never know when. Only one person upstairs knows when all this is going to happen. We just have to be prepared in the moment. Wholesaling is the single best activity to get you financially free and get freedom to spend more time with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. If you like the message and it resonates with you, please continue to follow us on this channel and I will help you through this journey. And guys, don't forget, go to freewholesaling.com. It is the 100% free course on there that teaches everything from A to Z on how to get started in wholesaling. And I promise you, you will not be upsold. I will not ask you for a credit card. And guys, before you buy anybody's course, you owe it to yourself to go through our course first, find out what we're teaching to you. And by the way, all the gurus have my course. I'm fine with it. I get it. It's out there. I see their IP addresses. I have a list on them. I don't care. I look at it as a compliment. I don't even get upset about it anymore. So compare my course to theirs, and I think you'll be very, very surprised. So did I answer Juan's question? Let me double check here. I might have missed it. If not, I'll go back and answer it in the notes on YouTube. Check this out. We're wrapping it up. Jonathan just got his first wholesale check yesterday. That is awesome. And I'm really excited for you. So you'll have to come back on the next stream we have next week and share some more details. I love to answer that. Eric asked this, and guys, this is a valid question. Okay. I am not anti-guru. There's some amazing talent out there. But I feel they get so much pressure to sell these courses and it's such a high volume game. When I first got in, like I did coaching, the one-on-one is very, very taxing. It's hard to give individual attention. Now, what if you have a couple thousand students? How are you going to give one-on-one time? It's physically like there's no logical way to do it. You would have to 24 hours a day, just constantly get everyone. So what happens is you guys are getting stuck on Zoom calls and they're breaking you up in groups and they're just cycling. And all these people usually burn out doing it, but they get big fat paychecks. And that's where I don't agree with it. So Eric says here, should I get out of my coaching program? Honestly, I'm not here to, I don't know what's going on with it, but if you've paid for it, honestly, I would just work through it. And if it's not serving you anymore, then you can kind of go elsewhere. So I'm not here to wreck anyone's program. If you've paid them, finish your commitment, follow through with it. There's probably some nuggets you can get out of it, and then go over to freewholesaling.com. And then me and Zach will help you and walk you through the journey with it. Guys, wholesaling, to be honest with you, guys, I paid someone a big fat fee too. And I found out they didn't know anything about wholesaling. And it really pushed me to struggle and get through. Fast forward 15 years later, I taught Zach how to do it at age 16 and 17. So it has nothing to do with your age. Honestly, it really has very little to do with your education. It's about your drive, your willingness to break away from the pack and give your family the life you deserve. So here's what I do, Eric. Use freewholesaling.com. Use the other course you did and take the best out of it. Like, listen, we all make mistakes in there. I don't know if you made a mistake. I got to give the other person, you made a commitment. So the commitment sometimes will get you over the edge. I would finish it up, add our course onto it, and go from there. So I think I'm going to wrap it up with this. Salas has a great information on here. He says, just take the courses compared to it. And that's it. Guys, we all make mistakes. It's no big deal. You got to progress and get better each day. And you got to look forward. That's why you have a rear view mirror and you got to look forward. So I would look at it as maybe that guru had you take action and that's it. So I wouldn't worry about it. So guys, you got everybody in the chat there. You guys can share information, post a comment. Tell me what you think, guys. Novation agreements, the sexiest new term in wholesaling real estate. I'm giving you the truth on it. I know not everyone's going to agree with it, guys. Stick to wholesaling. It's much more direct. If novation agreements, they don't exist. There's too many elements missing out of it. And I don't want you guys to get in hot water, guys. I appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video, guys. I can't wait to see you on the next one. So I'll be on here with Zach. Zach will do his videos. And guys, every day, freewholesaling.com. Go in there, get the course on it. We upload 2 new videos every day. Guys, I appreciate you spending your time with me. And I think you guys have an awesome weekend and go out and get some contracts. And congrats on everybody who got a new contract. I appreciate your guys' time and I'll see you real soon. Thanks.